Today, we're making over the ugliest bedside tables you've ever seen. They're actually terrible. Okay, maybe not the ugliest because the shape of them is actually kind of adorable, but this paint job, you guys, come on. I just don't know how people let their furniture get this bad. I understand sometimes if it's like kids' furniture or something though, but realistically, like I like to, take care of the things that I own. So yeah, we're gonna fix these babies up. So I noticed that this already had layers of paint, which to me, layers of paint and my name do not go hand in hand. I do not like layers of paint because you've ever stripped furniture before. Layers of paint is literally your worst nightmare, and I am living it in this video. After 2 layers came off, I used Jasco's stripper again to scrape and scrape and scrape and scrape and scrape. And as you can see, it still didn't get everything off. Then I was left with this hot mess and I was like, okay, that's good for now before I stress myself out. And there I was mentally preparing myself for another round of this fantastic strip session. Now, the key to stripping is to put it on quite thick, and I let it sit for like 10 to 15 minutes. And this spray version wasn't working, and this stuff always works for me, so I used the gel version, which I thought would do a better trick, and in reality, it just did the same thing. And trust me when I say this, the stripper I use all the time, and it is fantastic. So I am highly convinced that it is just whatever flippin' paint this is, the layers of it, and I don't know what brand, what glue, I don't know. It was just a disaster. So you can watch me do this disaster together because I kind of need somebody to watch me and be like, Shayna, it's gonna be okay. But guess what? It never was okay. So here I am applying paint stripper onto the side just to remove the first layer. And yep, there goes the first layer. La, 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 la. Okay, now we're applying it again to remove the second layer. La, 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 la. Now I think this is layer 3. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now we're applying the third layer. This was like a yellow magnolia color. I mean, I have no clue how many owners this had or how many times it was painted or if it just came like this. I don't know. I wish furniture came with like a little detailed handbook in every piece telling you the journey that it's been on throughout its life because that would be sweet. I'm not having any fun. And I was correct. 0 fun was being had. I just have to sit here and laugh because once you get this deep into a project, you can't give up. I mean, once you start, you can't give up. I mean, like, at least that's my motto. And I was determined no matter what way, any way, some way possible to get all this paint off, I was going to do it, even if I was scraping it while crying at the exact same time. For some reason, the sides and the legs were the absolute hardest to get anything off. I'm not sure if different paint or primer was used on these. It was an actual disaster. I used a scouser and a wire brush, and those still weren't even working. I'm done. And I indeed, in fact, was not done. I actually went for a walk and then I came back and started on the front of these pieces. Now, just to remind you, this is only the first table, you guys. This is only table number 1, okay? I look like the biggest amateur scraping off this paint, but I swear to you, I've done this probably over 100 times. And this piece by far, it was just not working. So it was literally mission get the paint off any way possible. And once I got enough off to where I thought my sander wouldn't clog too much, I started sanding and I could finally see some light in some tunnel. So I just continued this and I went through about 15 pieces of sandpaper, but at least my sanity was being brought back to me. The drawer I was working on also popped out. I think the glue was just super old, so I re-glued it and pushed it back into place and just cleaned it up a bit because this glue, I think it's called Tight Bond, it really does work wonders and it does hold pieces of drawers into place super nicely. At this point, it was getting a little bit later in the afternoon, and I was just trying to get as much paint as I possibly could off before I called it a day. And I think at this time, I might have been like 6 hours into sanding this project, which is insane. So now for like these little detailed areas, I always use a little carbide scraper, and this just removes paint super nicely on those 90-degree corners rather than having to use, I don't know, like a little detail sander or whatnot. Now, my other little trick for getting into super hard to reach areas is to use pure acetone, and I really rub it in there with a brush and I wipe it back, and this helps loosen up the paint, especially in like these little curved areas. I just went over and over and over and over again with some acetone, and it finally removed it from these spots.
Oh my God. This was so much more work than I expected. So much more. It's day 2. I finished getting this one completely raw yesterday, and I genuinely think I have PTSD now from stripping and from sanding. That took me, genuinely, it took me all day. I think I spent 6 hours yesterday stripping this and sanding this. Was it worth it? I mean, it's beautiful. Would I do it again? No, because guess what? I have the second one to do today. Wish me luck.
Well, I couldn't sleep the night before because I kept reminding myself I had a whole other entire side table to do this day. I was just like, when is this ever going to end? And it sounds like I'm complaining this whole video because I actually was, because it was so much not fun. So much not fun. I said that wrong. It was no fun at all. How's that for grammar correction?
Iced coffee needed. I forgot the sugar. I don't know why I do this to myself. I really don't. I'm never stripping a piece of furniture ever again. At least not on this scale. No, I'm done. Love you. You might enjoy watching this. I'm hating every minute of this.
Then we hopped right back on the acetone train, and I was using this where the bottom shelf met the legs because that is a very kind of a funky corner there. It's 90 degrees, but it also curves. I knew a sander wouldn't be able to get into there easily. So I just buffed it and got all those spots cleared before I took it back outside and hit it with my sander. And I finally saw the end of the tunnel. I was partying inside, literally an internal party, just thinking that no more sanding had to take place after this. Once I got it fully sanded, I hit it with my Dremel, and this is so good for getting these top ledges, especially areas that are curved and really, really intricate. I guess intricate areas that have some paint left over. But I'm always super gentle with this because it's a really powerful little machine here, and it does pick up the paint very, very easily. When I was fully done, I got out some Dixie Belle clear wax. Now the wax looks a bit white, but I promise you once you buff it onto your piece, it actually does go on clear and it dries clear. So I just really buffed it with this big brush, and this brush is actually called the Best Dang Brush to go with the Best Dang Wax, because those are actually the literal names of them, which I love. And then once it sits for a bit, I just buff it back with either a microfiber cloth or a shop towel, and it starts to feel so, so smooth.
Hi. We're at the finish line. We're at the finish line.
Finally, y'all, the finish line. So I buffed the same thing with that wax on all the bodies of the pieces. And then I wanted to keep the original hardware because these are just classic with French provisional provisional. I can't speak, y'all. I think I need to go to grammar class. Anyways, it's classic with this sort of furniture. So I buffed them with some gold wax, and there's the before. And here finally is the after, my friends. We did it. We made it to last place, although we did finish first, if that makes any sense. Okay, I actually love these, and these will look so great in a bedroom. What do you guys think?